Hello, this is Barry Reisman, welcoming you to another edition of the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860. Stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your home, from the roof to the basement, from the guy who knows everything about both and everything in between, professional home inspector Jack Milne. Jack, welcome back to WWDB. What's on the agenda for today?
Well, good afternoon, Barry. I always want to say thank you for WWDB for allowing me the opportunity to spread the news. My name's Jack Milne with Tri-County Inspection Company, and my show's called The House Whisperer, where every house has a story. Barry, today's show is about social media for referrals. But as always, before I kick in, I want to thank my sponsors, because without them I wouldn't be on the air. So BrainFleshGear.com. It's that simple. If anyone's interested in active sportswear and you have some creative thoughts and ideas, reach out to BrainFleshGear.com, because they can make anything you want, from hats to T-shirts to pants to other accessories, let's put it that way. Bucksmont Inspections, they do on-site sewage evaluations. Their email is bmseptic@comcast.net. Burrow Exterminating for radon testing as well as wood-destroying insect evaluations. Their email is burrowinspects@verizon.net. Pest Blaster. It's funny when clients write the check sometime, I see them write out Pet Blaster instead of Pest Blaster. So we have a good joke with that. But they do radon, mold, wood-destroying insect inspections as well as pest removal. So again, with winter approaching, those critters are trying to make their way inside. If you come across any of these folks, email them at pestblaster@verizon.net. Of course, my company, Tri-County Inspection Company, we've been serving the greater Philadelphia area and 13 counties around it since 1985. And our email is info@tcinspect.com, or our website is just tcinspect.com. Barry, today, the email box, again, got pretty crowded, and I really appreciate people coming back and letting me know their thoughts. I want to read this one from Ben from Southampton. And he heard some of the comments from 2 weeks ago where we talked about rain, mold, and soil saturation. And he just said, in quote, "Jack, my house was built in the 1960s and never had water. I've lived here since 1975. I finished my basement in 1980. This summer I knew something was wrong. As you said in your show, I could taste it, but nothing was visible. It got to a point where I hired a mold tester, and the elevation of mold was unbelievable. I had to take down the drywall, and stocky buttress had extended 6 feet off the floor. Needless to say, I'm starting over again. Thanks for the heads up, and all I can say is thanks, Ben. Anyone, please email me at thehousewhispershow.com. I may have your little snippet on the radio. And, of course, Gmail, if you need to email me, I apologize for that. If you want to become a sponsor, please email me again, and I'd love to have you on the air as long as you're a service provider and a reputable one, and that's why I want to talk about referrals and the Internet today. So, social media. I think we're all kind of getting used to it. Some of us are adopting it, and some of us aren't. I think most of us in our 50s and 60s are kind of old school, where I know, my 21-year-old says, Dad, you're a dinosaur, and I kind of like that every once in a while. But, the question becomes, if you need a good contractor, where do you start? And every morning, I'm on the Weather Channel, because I want to see how to prepare for the day, and especially being a home inspector. I mean, we're out there in the elements, I think, more than the postman, because we're in the snow, we're in the rain, we're in the winds. I mean, the heat, everything, we have to be prepared for it. And it seems like every day before I get my local forecast, there's somebody coming on the air from Angie's List. And back in 2000, I became a member of Angie's List, too. It was something new. It was kind of exciting, and so I signed up for it. As time went on, we got a few referrals through Angie's List, and I thought it was pretty neat. They didn't, Angie's List didn't really ask me for any money, as you can be aware. If you want to be found on Google, sometimes you got to pay up, in order to ascend in the batting order, as I like to call it. And this is what's been happening with Angie's List. What I've been finding lately, and I've been talking to a lot of folks who call me and say, I got your name on Angie's List. And I said, what do you think? And they said, well, it's good and bad. It seems like Angie's List is advertising more when there's not good news. And if you listen to their ads, it's all about, who you can trust. And, you get to read honest reviews from people who have had these contractors in. But, the news is like lousy weather. If we had good weather every day, what would there be to report? So Angie herself, or someone who's an actress, comes on the air and says contractors do not pay to be on the list. Only members who are looking for contractors pay to become members. And I think, yes, there is some truth in that advertising. I think there's a little bit of untruth in that advertising because, again, as time went on, I was approached to pay a little bit more so that I could move up in the batting order. In 2006 or 2007, and folks, this is a true story, I had a client who made a complaint against my company. Now, she made the complaint in either 2011 or 2012, but as a business owner, I was never notified by Angie or her employees that I had this complaint against me. How I found out was by someone who wanted to use Tri-County Inspection Company, but was reluctant to do so because of this complaint. Now, the complaint was number one in the pecking order. She did not read the other 3 or 4 or 5 good reviews that were after the complaint. And what I got upset about is that the complaint was an old complaint in relation to the favorable reviews that I had. So I sent a letter out to Angie's List, and I said, here's some background here. So I said, I did the inspection for a young lady. She moved in. I always tell my clients, if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us because we don't stop our service at the completion of the inspection. You have any questions anytime, we're here to advise you. But she felt, 4 or 5 years later that she ran across something and she put in a bad review. So I said, I'd like the opportunity to talk to someone from Angie's List to see how we can get this pecking order changed so that at least a couple good reviews were before this bad review. Never heard back. And, I'm an accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, and I think that's one of the good places that you should go because the Better Business Bureau has a Philadelphia chapter, and they have a lot of local chapters too. And what I like about the Better Business Bureau is if someone puts in writing a complaint to them, they are on the phone almost immediately with the person of which the complaint had been made about. And folks, I've helped 70,000 clients since 1985. So you guys do the math. But I've had maybe 3 circumstances where the Better Business Bureau had called me and asked for me to put in writing my point of view for a clarification. And that's what I would anticipate getting from another organization that takes referrals. If there's a good referral, you know how it is. I'm usually held in someone's chest pocket because, Jack, you did a great job for me. I want to thank you very much. I'm going to tell my friends, and all I can say is thank you. But if I do a bad job, then I'm usually the topic at a cocktail party. And that's what I stress to my employees, all of them, from my staff in the office to my staff who represents my clients. I want you to do a good job every day, because a bad referral spreads like a plague, where a good referral is kept close to the chest. So with Angie, what I found is that even though I wanted to get an answer, I never got a reply. And I found that very frustrating because being a business owner, it should be able to go both ways. I also have a good friend who's a painter, and he's a good member of Angie's List too. And he's gotten to a point where, he strives for referrals back to Angie's List because, again, the more referrals he gets, the better it comes. But at the same time, too, he's paying up to get into the batting order, the pecking order. And he goes, Jack, honestly, if I don't get something from Angie's List as a reply within 2 weeks, then I'm going to call the client back again and once again ask them for a referral. And I just kind of sat back and I said, listen, if the person felt comfortable giving a referral, then it should not take a second phone call. So treat Angie's List with a grain of salt. I always find that the best way to find a referral is dealing locally, and I'm going to talk about that in a couple minutes.
Well, we're going to take a break. It's the perfect time for us to do that. You're listening to The House Whisperer with Jack Milne. He talks to houses, and they listen, and they talk to him, right?
Absolutely.
And you don't find very many people around who talk back and forth to houses, but he knows from the roof to the basement and everything in between. Okay, we're going to take a break, Jack, and this is a fascinating topic. Stand by. We'll be right back with more with The House Whisperer at WWDB.
So hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you. And now, la 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 la
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created T-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today, and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com, servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They're licensed in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard.
And once again, we are back with Jack Milne, the House Whisperer, at WWDB Talk 860 on WWDBAM.com. And I'll just mention that if you want to hear the show again, or if you miss any show, it's posted as a podcast at our website, WWDBAM.com. And Jack, it's on your website too, correct?
Oh, absolutely. If you go to tcinspect.com, which is our website, you will be able to get the links back to the radio station, as well as to all my sponsors. And I ask that you use them. Just wonderful people, great personalities, second and third generation companies. So if these folks knock on your door, you're getting the best referral from me.
That's the best referral. All right, Jack. Well, we want to hear more about the social media as it applies to referrals.
Okay. Thank you, Barry. This next group I want to talk about is Yelp, Y-E-L-P. Honestly, never heard of it until Yelp called me at Tri-County and said that, we've had a couple customers voice an opinion as to your organization. I said, wow, how about that? So I did a little bit of reading. Again, I scoured newspapers to find information, and I found this, and I thought this was kind of interesting. Again, I'm going to quote a little bit. Accusation about Yelp's business practices and authenticity of reviews have angered scores of small business owners. They also have left some consumers feeling confused about what they can and can't trust on the popular website, which features 42 million reviews on bars, restaurants, orthodontists, body shops, gyms, nail salons, hotels, and much more. Yelp says Yelp sort is applied to all businesses regardless of whether they advertise, but the method raises suspicions that Yelp unfairly manipulates the order. You can reorder the reviews by clicking one of several options, including sorting by date or star rating. But they also they check out the filtered reviews. Many business owners who don't advertise with Yelp believe that their favorable reviews are filtered out, leaving only the negative ones behind. On the opposite end, there have been accusations that Yelp filters negative reviews for businesses that do pay up. If you're suspicious, scroll to the bottom of the business page and click on Filtered Reviews. Then you can decide for yourself. So for Yelpers, again, something new to me, I went on their website and read about a couple reviews from Tri-County. I then reached back to the people that had their complaints and asked them why they didn't reach out to me if they had an opinion. And it's funny because I think today the younger people feel more comfortable typing away on something than actually picking up the phone. And when I got done with these three individuals and families, they said, well, we wish we would have known that. And there were simple questions to simple answers to simple questions. But now, due to social media, I've got things out there that I can't get taken off. And again, I don't mind a response, but if you communicate with the vendor, I think that you'll have satisfaction in two ways. One, you're going to get communication. There's nothing better than the voice, because there's a question and answer period. If you just state an opinion and you put it out there to be broadcast, well, one, the complainant has no idea about how you feel, and two, there's no recourse. And that's what I ran into with Angie's List, too. I have to tell you, folks, that I left Angie's List in about 2005, 2006. But I now get calls from both Angie's List and Yelp to let them know how my profile is doing. And I tell them, don't subscribe. Well, that's okay. Would you want to know? So they're looking for businesses, again, to sign up and to try to straighten out some of their profiles. But at the same time, I said, listen, if you have a complaint, get it to me, and I'll handle it personally. And that's how a good small businessman should behave, is by doing it personally and professionally. So now you're going to say, well, Jack, how do I find a good referral? And I think it all comes back to a few things. Ask your friends. Ask your office mates. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to family members. Because if you're interested in a $30,000 kitchen or a $5,000 kitchen, it's going to take a general contractor. Now, you can play that role if you want. It's not that easy, because you have to get people that are going to, take out the kitchen. You're going to need plumbers, electricians, carpenters, tile setters, cabinet makers, countertop makers, appliance repair and salespeople, and installers. So before you're going to put a big expense out into your home, you have to ask around. If one of your neighbors went ahead and put a new kitchen in 4 or 5 years ago, that kitchen should still look pristine. Plus, they've had the opportunity of living with the kitchen for that extended period of time. How'd it go? How were the mechanics? Did you like them? Were they clean? Were they on time? Did they clean up when they were done at the end of each day? How did they protect your home? And these are all good questions that you want to be able to ask of anybody. You can't get these kind of answers on your social media. This is one-on-one interaction. Again, contact the Better Business Bureau. I think it's a great place to go because the Better Business Bureau is a nonprofit organization. I subscribe to be a member, and I choose to be a member because I think they're the best out there. And again, they will let you know who the good people are and who the bad people are. Check with your local municipality because for the bigger jobs, permits need to be issued. You may need a dumpster. You're going to have to get a code official in to check the rough electric, the rough plumbing as the sequences go. And I usually find that the township, although they can't specify which contractors to use, they may suggest ones not to use. And I think that's just as important. Yellow pages aren't out there anymore. And I usually find when there were yellow pages that, and I'm being facetious here, but stay away from companies that begin with A. I think those companies that start with A just wanted to be first in the phone book because as consumers, sometimes we tend to be a little bit lazy. I mean, I intentionally started my company with a T, okay, which is at the opposite end of the alphabet because if you're going to look for Tri-County, we're not under A. But sometimes, if you see some of these things that start with AA or AAA or quadruple A, I wouldn't give them a buzz. But, do a Google search. Okay, Google searches are good because, again, it will give you websites and check websites. I think that's a good way to find a company. You can see exactly who they deal with and who can be local to your area. If you had your home inspected, ask your home inspector. Being in this business for as long as I have been, I actually started creating a list of local referrals, and I go from A to Z. And the reason I did it is because I knew my out-of-towners had no contact with anybody who was local. So I started providing this list, and it turned out so well that my realtors asked, could I give this to everybody? And I do. Because I want to make sure that the person who does knock on your door is reputable, honest, on time, and clean. because they are a reflection of Tri-County. So your home inspector should be a good, viable source as to if you need a painter, a general contractor, someone who can fix foundation cracks, someone who can put a deck on the back of your house, who can put a roof or siding on your home, replace your windows. This is where you want to start, and it is all with verbal communication. Look for the little books that are at your grocery store. Some of those I have found are okay, but if you're ever reluctant to contact someone to come in, you can ask that contractor for referrals. And I think that's a good source back.
I've done that. The only problem with that is that they're only going to give you their good referrals. They won't give you their bad. But you can even tell sometimes, even with their good referrals, if you read between the lines, how they did and how they finished up and, like you said, cleaned up afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking to do roofing and siding on your home, what you can do is ask the contractor what jobs have they done locally and ask for their address and do a drive-by.
Good idea. Well, Jack, the time has flown by once again. So,
well, it doesn't take long, it seems.
Well,
but, I do want to bring up next week's topic. And next week, we're going to talk on child safety after school.
Oh, what a great topic that is.
Has begun, and I want to talk on things that if you don't happen to be home when your 12 or 13-year-old happens to walk into the garage or open up that door after it's been locked all day, I want you to listen in because we're going to talk on a lot of topics that's going to make you, your child, and your home just a little bit safer. Well, thank you again, Barry. And as it is Sunday, I always ask that you spend time with friends and family, and you're listening to The House Whisperer on WWDB.
And tune in again next week for another edition of The House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. And to listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com.